going to show a portion of it. This is the moment leading up to the shooting of this 37-year-old man. I should warn you, it is upsetting.
North Minneapolis, January 14th, 1908 hours. The streetlights are blue and shaking. A white SUV sits nose deep in a drift, steam venting from the radiator. One man is face down in the ice, cuffed. Another is sitting upright against a curb, blood on his jeans, hands trembling. Two ICE jackets move fast between flashing strobes, one shouting coordinates into a radio that keeps cutting out. The wind temperature reads 12 degrees. A 9mm casing lies visible near the gutter. It's already over before anyone understands what happened. The agent who fired is down the block in an ambulance. One Venezuelan national, under arrest, one injured, one unmarked vehicle stripped clean minutes later by a crowd that's growing by the second. At 18:52, 12 minutes earlier, dashcam footage shows the SUV fishtailing along West Broadway, hitting 50 miles per hour on black ice. The rear tires spin uselessly as it oversteers through an intersection. An ICE unit follows at 200 meters, distance closing. Radio chatter notes a non-compliant target, no weapons confirmed. The agent in pursuit calls in the plate once, twice, before static overtakes the transmission. The suspect clips a snowbank at the corner of 24th Avenue, slides sideways, and buries the front end. The chase looks finished. The agent steps out, boots crunching through 6 inches of slush. Breath clouds the lens. The car door opens and a figure bolts uphill toward the nearest porch light. At 18:54, the agent advances with sidearm holstered. Bodycam mic captures short bursts of wind and the command, "Stop! Immigration enforcement!" The fugitive is 20 meters ahead, turning into a narrow side yard. Footprints mark uneven snow. Porch light at 600 North 24th flickers with movement. Inside, a second shadow crosses behind a thin curtain. The agent calls it in as single suspect entry, unaware there are 2 males in the structure. A backup unit is rerouted 3 blocks east, delayed by traffic control from earlier protests. No one updates the timing. The field agent assumes support within 5 minutes. The clock reads 18:55:47 when he breaches the front door. The kitchen light swings on. It's a small duplex, 8 by 10 feet of open floor. A man in a dark hoodie stands near a window, hands raised halfway. Another voice shouts from behind the fridge. The agent's flashlight beam shakes as he tries to separate silhouettes. The fugitive darts right. The second man steps forward, broom in hand. Under the LED strobe, the handle flashes aluminum. The agent pivots left, weapon drawn, misreads distance. The broom arcs toward his head, striking the shoulder camera. A second impact glances off the sidearm. The bodycam feed tilts, audio spikes, one-shot discharges. The echo hits the walls, then the outside snow. At 18:56:09, the agent reports, shot fired, suspect down. The man with the leg wound collapses against a counter, blood mixing with snow tracked from the entry. Another body moves in the corner of frame, possibly the second man reaching for the fallen broom. The agent backsteps toward the door, breathing heavy, left shoulder bleeding. He doesn't notice a phone camera recording from the stairwell. Street noise grows outside. Shouting, engines, one bottle breaking. The agent radios again, voice distorted. "Need medical, 1 down, 1 in custody." Static answers. He thinks the perimeter is secure. It isn't. At 18:57, the first siren from Minneapolis PD echoes down the block. Distance 400 meters and closing. 3 patrol cars arrive within 90 seconds, lights reflecting off snow and porch glass. Officers see 1 ICE agent in pain, 1 civilian on the floor, and 2 others restrained. They secure the room, confirm weapon discharge, and call for medics. A neighbor opens a window to film. In the frame, steam from the agent's jacket rises under blue light. The temperature has dropped to 11 degrees. Breath visibility makes movement look like smoke. By 18:59, 30 people have gathered behind yellow tape. Most are filming. At 1900 hours, backup units arrive from DHS Field Operations. Unmarked Suburbans block both ends of the street. Radios cross over local frequencies, creating double feedback loops. One operator from PD shouts orders that half the federal team doesn't hear. Command believes the suspect's weapon is still unaccounted for. They haven't realized it was a broom handle. In the confusion, a federal medic slips on ice, dropping a trauma kit under a parked car. Inside the house, the wounded man regains consciousness and starts yelling in Spanish. Officers pull him outside to the snow while maintaining a 5-meter perimeter. Someone in the crowd misinterprets the movement as another use of force. A bottle arcs through the air and bursts near a cruiser. At 1902, the first object strikes a federal vehicle. It's small, maybe a chunk of ice, but it sets off the chain. Local radio warns, agitated group 20+. The ICE team initiates withdrawal protocol, moving the wounded agent into the rear Suburban. Engine idles at 1,500 or p.m., headlights strobing through drifting snow. Visibility under 30 meters. Someone in the crowd yells, "They shot him!" Another flash goes off, cell phone or lighter, hard to tell. A single siren from downtown merges with the noise of tires spinning. Federal agents now face 60 civilians at 20 meters, some advancing, some filming. The command channel repeats, "Maintain containment." The perimeter collapses anyway. At 1903, the first flare ignites a bright red magnesium spark thrown from the far curb. The sound reaches microphones as a dry hiss. Federal shields form a line near the SUV, but footing is impossible. Ice underfoot, slope 5 degrees downhill. The agent who fired is inside the Suburban, clutching his shoulder, field dressing soaked through. He can hear the radio, but not the language outside. PD captain orders retreat to the cross street, 180 meters west. 2 vehicles manage to reverse. One slides sideways into a stop sign. The sound of metal folding echoes down the block. By 1904, flashbang deployment authorized. 3 canisters thrown toward the intersection. Detonation recorded at 142 decibels. Snow scatters like smoke. The crowd falls back 10 meters, regrouping near parked cars. In the confusion, one unmarked government sedan is left idling with rear hatch open. 2 silhouettes move through haze and vanish. When visibility clears 30 seconds later, the sedan is gone. Later, logs show it was stripped of service weapons and documents. Command doesn't realize the loss until 1927. Inside the duplex, local detectives from BCA arrive, but are held outside by federal perimeter. The scene remains unsecured. The plastic shovel near the porch is bagged. No one notes the shell casing still under melting snow. The air temperature hits 10 degrees, and steam rises off the bullet hole in the wall where warm air escapes. Time of initial evidence recovery, 1915. The state team requests full access, but is denied. Federal communications cite ongoing operation. Cameras record more protesters arriving from West Broadway. Crowd now estimated at 200. At 1920, PD tactical vans move in from the south. The command plan assumes a 2-block containment grid, but half the radio channels are jammed by overlapping federal encryption. Officers on scene receive contradictory orders, one team told to hold, another to disengage. The ICE units believe evacuation is complete. It isn't. One Suburban with damaged axle still blocks the east exit. A crowd encircles it within seconds, kicking at panels. The driver accelerates once, twice, rear tires spinning on ice. When the lights cut out, the only illumination is from phone screens. At 1923, tear gas is deployed. Wind out of the north at 14 knots carries it straight back over the federal line. Visibility drops to 5 meters. Commands degrade into fragments. Fall back, injuries, retrieve agent. Bodycam audio from one PD officer catches coughing, glass breaking, the crunch of boots. The crowd moves forward again, indistinguishable shapes in the haze. A second flare lights near the curb, bouncing under a cruiser. Engine heat melts surrounding snow into vapor. For 15 seconds, the frame looks like a burning fog. At 1927, federal command orders total withdrawal. Vehicles reverse westbound in convoy, lights off to reduce targeting. Average speed 25 miles per hour on ice, spacing 30 meters. Behind them, rioters breach the unguarded perimeter and surround the duplex. The last PD unit leaves at 1933. Audio from helicopter orbiting at 400 feet records faint pops fireworks or small arms, undetermined. The thermal camera shows multiple hotspots in the alley. At 1940, the street is effectively lost. Remaining fire units cannot enter. Federal vehicles regroup at a secure zone 2 miles south. Injured agent stabilized, shoulder fracture and laceration. The suspect with leg wound evacuated under police escort to Hennepin County Medical. The other man detained at DHS field office downtown. Chain of custody for the firearm established, but documentation incomplete. Half the radios from the scene are missing. Local channels report weapons possibly taken. At 1955, the first media drone arrives, capturing overhead of the block glowing with scattered fires. Thermal images show 3 vehicle shells still burning near the corner. Estimated property loss unconfirmed. Temperature 9 degrees. Wind continues north at 12 knots. Police command posts area secured at 2010, though no personnel remain on site. The block stays active until 2240, when snow resumes and buries most evidence under fresh accumulation. The following morning at 7:20, BCA investigators return under warrant. They recover 1 broom, 1 casing, and a bullet embedded in drywall. No body cam from the shooting is located. The ICE field office confirms the agent's device malfunctioned due to impact. Inside the home, footprints crisscross the floor where heat from portable lights melts overnight frost. Photographs are taken, angles logged, timestamps recorded. The second man's fingerprints match prior federal records. Federal agents reclaim jurisdiction, ordering all local personnel to vacate by 9:10. The last PD vehicle leaves at 9:18, exhaust echoing in the frozen air. At 10 o'clock, local media broadcast edited footage of the crowd from the night before. From the overhead shot, the scene looks like a combat zone, smoke columns, tire marks, debris trails leading west. Analysts count at least 50 separate flashpoints from thrown objects or flares. Officials estimate 73 minutes between first pursuits and total loss of sight control. The ICE field report marks the event as defensive discharge under duress. The BCA classification reads, officer-involved shooting, investigation incomplete. At 10:12, DHS Regional Director issues order restricting release of all internal comms. The FBI assumes primary review. State investigators are told no further access. Public request lines fill within hours with eyewitness videos. No official timeline reconciles with any of them. What remains is sensory data, gunshot echo at 1856, tear gas detonation at 1904, final vehicle extraction at 1933. The rest is noise. 2 days later, the damaged Suburban is found 10 blocks south, stripped of equipment, dashcam memory missing. Local cleanup crews collect shell fragments and frozen tear gas canisters from gutters. The asphalt is scarred where vehicles spun out. Residents describe a boom that shook windows just before power flickered. Temperature recorded that night was 9 degrees. Snowfall 3 inches. By January the 21st, the BCA executes the second search warrant at the duplex. Entry time 8:43. Recovered items logged broom handle fractured at midpoint, 9mm casing, bullet from wall cavity. Chain of custody sealed 9:02. No trace of lost federal weapons. Neighborhood still under partial lockdown. Patrol cars idle at intersections, exhaust vaporizing in cold air. Kids walk past, filming with phones. Every movement echoes. What happens next is bureaucratic silence. The FBI declines to share any findings. State agents mark their files pending. DHS updates the incident from ongoing to resolved. The ICE agent remains unnamed. Local reports mention he was treated for shoulder fracture and released at 23:10 the same night. The Venezuelan national remains in federal custody. The second man faces obstruction charges. The street reopens 3 days later. Ice scraped clean of tire grooves, houses still boarded. Sensors tell what witnesses cannot. 1 round discharged at 18:56. 1 wound consistent with ricochet angle of 12 degrees. Ambient temperature below freezing. Every fact comes in fragments. Radio logs show 6 channels overlapping. GPS tracks dropping out between 1854 and 1912. Crowd audio spikes at 108 decibels near 1903. No system sees the full picture. Each correct procedure, pursuit, warning, discharge, withdrawal, produces the next failure. By week's end, no one can say where command broke. Physical evidence ends where visibility failed. A single broom handle became the fulcrum of an entire city's instability. Federal armor melted into neighborhood asphalt. Every second is archived somewhere on a radio, on a drive, in a cloud feed no one admits exists. But the only certain record is kinetic snow churned by tires, casing embedded in ice, breath freezing midair. The operation begins with pursuit and ends with physics. No one walks away with clarity, only distance measured in meters and time.